Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Comment Section. It's been a while, but we finally have another special episode for you where we can talk
Yes.
about a movie and our thoughts about it
What was the
for the
last one we
entirety of an
did?
episode.
Was it
Oh,
Endgame?
man. That could be. We haven't done one in a long time.
Yes. 2020, there was not a lot to do specials about.
Yeah, but it's one of our most staple types of episodes, so
Do you
they're
remember
special, don't get
do
me
you
wrong.
remember what I said? We were going to break tradition and have a special of a TV show?
Yeah, I remember having that discussion, but I can't remember what it was for.
It was for Superman and Lois.
Oh, yeah.
Next month it premieres.
Oh, okay, so
So,
we might have more special episodes in store then.
yes.
Well, today that the movie in question is the released December 25th, 2020. A movie we didn't get a chance to talk about in our end of 2020 specials because
No.
we
They waited
we
till the
recorded
last
them
minute
before
to
Christmas.
put it up.
Yeah. So the movie this special episode is all about Pixar's Soul.
That's right.
Absolutely. We talk about Pixar a lot on comment section, so it's only just
Soul is the first Pixar movie to get its own special.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Because we've had I guess segmented. We talked about Incredibles 2 as part of an episode, but this gets its own full special episode.
Just real quick, because I just remembered. Do you remember we were going to have a special of another Pixar movie, and it's the only special I've ever canceled because I didn't want to talk about it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember. We almost had, I guess it would be it would have been the 2019 Pixar movie.
Yes.
I don't know if I think it was the only Pixar movie that released in 2019.
I think so, yeah.
So yeah, 2020, well, I mean, not to get into spoilers, I made up for 2019's Pixar, but
oh yeah, we had double dose this year.
Yeah, big deal. And we talked throughout 2020 and in our upcoming 2020 movies discussion a lot about these movies as anticipated movies. I should say Onward, which was anticipated in expecting it to be underwhelming, and then Soul anticipated. I think we both expected it to be very good.
Yes.
So then in one of our most recent episodes, we kind of had to have the discussion where it was like, Onward was so unexpectedly good that now we have to, we're in the position of going, can Soul live up to Onward?
it had more of a challenge than we thought would at the end of the year.
Yeah. Onward, of course, I put as my number one movie of 2020. Again, recorded before Christmas. And your number two, I think?
I think so, yeah. Now, normally for these specials, we start with what was your introduction. Little hard to do because Soul is not, I mean, it's kind of a franchise if you think of Pixar as a franchise.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It would have to be Pixar.
Yeah, so instead of an introduction, let's just say off the bat, I don't know if you'll have a hard time with this, but what would you say is your favorite Pixar movie?
It really it changes a lot. I think if I were going for like deep-seated like childhood memory positive, I would say Monsters Inc. But
are you excited for the TV show they're gonna do?
Oh yeah,
I guess thing, right?
I think so. I guess mildly, but that's the thing is that like now as an adult, just looking at the entire breadth of Pixar, I would actually maybe say Coco.
Really?
Like I think that I think if I were just to look at which I think is actually the best Pixar movie, I might say Coco.
All right, for me, I'm gonna cheat in a way because for me, this is technically one movie just spread out over three,
Yes.
and it is the Toy Story trilogy. It is for me the greatest achievement in animation history. It is the best non-superhero movie ever made.
Yeah.
It is what they did in this trilogy is amazing. In fact, I was rewatching the first half the other day, and like it's like I loved it when I was younger, but every time I rewatch, the older I get, the more I appreciate that movie. Those movies. Especially I loved the gag where like after Buzz falls out the window in the first movie and
Yeah.
Andy's coming to his room and the toys are hiding, Woody looks up and everyone's mad at Woody, and Mr. Potato Head is behind the Etch-a-Sketch and he points to Woody, and then at the Etch-a-Sketch and you see like a noose or whatever. I was like,
Yeah,
now I get it now. It's not just like, what is that thing?
I don't remember that. Yeah,
And then,
I think
like,
my problem.
This is one scene like when the army men are like attacking Woody, and they're all just like, let's get him, and you hear like Ham say, save me his hat or something, like he wants Woody's hat if stuff's about to go down.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've rewatched that franchise enough like you. It's
Why
not
do
as
you hate
fresh in my
yourself?
memory. I don't know. I think it's a mistake because I would very close after the ones I just mentioned say Toy Story.
Oh yes. So
Which, by the way, I do. As another thing to bring up, I remember way back at the beginning of this podcast when we asked what maybe our least favorite non-Cars Pixar movie was. I said maybe Ratatouille, and I want to fully rescind that. I rewatched. That's one of the most recent ones I
all right,
rewatched.
what one did you rewatch? And how recent
Ratatouille.
was it?
Or
Oh, you didn't watch
yeah.
a bad one. You watched a good one and had better memory.
Yeah, I'm basically saying I don't know what my least favorite one is anymore, but it's not Ratatouille.
Have you seen The Good Dinosaur? Have you tortured yourself?
No, I haven't.
Well,
I just said I haven't seen Cars 3, Toy Story 4, or The Good Dinosaur.
Oh, well.
Those are the Pixar movies I haven't seen.
You if you throw Cars 2 in there, you just listed the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. So there.
So, did you see they're doing this Pixar popcorn thing where they're doing like little shorts with the Pixar characters?
No.
I saw they were doing a Toy Story
Disney
one
Plus series or something.
Yeah, and that stupid fork is in it, and I lost all interest. I'm like, screw this.
I did see. Yeah, actually, no, I did. There, so some of them are already on there, right?
I don't think so. Aren't they premiering next month on Disney Plus?
Never mind. Okay, I was thinking of just the shorts that were already on there, I guess.
No. Oh, have you not seen those Toy Story shorts?
Not yet.
Oh,
you know what?
You gotta see the one. It's like the Happy Meal one with the little Buzz. Oh,
yeah.
It may be the best thing Toy Story's ever done, and I say that loving those movies, but that short may be the best. I love that short.
Yeah, I'll say I gotta.
Is all right.
I'm really gonna make it a priority to rewatch Toy Story sometime soon because I really want to watch the shorts and have a little more context.
Oh, you should also watch the Halloween special. That's so good. Screw the Christmas one, which was just, I swear, it's a draft of The Good Dinosaur they scrapped.
Oh, yeah.
Because no one acts in character in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Just like Toy Story 4, but yes.
Yes.
So, actually,
that's our
before we move on, I gotta
Pixar.
say, I think Toy Story 3 might be the best looking Blu-ray I have.
Just like box art?
No, I mean like in terms of quality, like the presentation.
That's a great looking movie in general.
I know. And you know what?
One of the most beautiful Pixar movies, oddly.
Toy Story 4 is a terrible movie, but I gotta say, they did a nice job on the animation. It's just
Yeah, of course.
as nice as it's like you can't fix a bad script.
Yeah.
You know, I was very proud to see. Apparently,
What?
Tim Allen didn't like the ending. I was like, right on, Tim. Yeah. Yeah. It was a
Oh,
stupid
so
ending,
there we
wasn't it?
go. There we go.
Yes. Finally,
Um,
someone said it.
yeah, it's like the rumor that Mark Hamill didn't like The Last Jedi, which I think wasn't true.
You want me to
But
say
true.
something to get everyone mad?
Oh, sure.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
So I was thinking about how now remember how I said like I knew most of my Christmas presents were probably gonna be Warner Bros. Products.
Yeah.
Well, they were, except for like two things.
Oh,
One
really?
was a Spider-Man comic, and one was ready to get people mad. Star
Yes.
Wars: The Rise of Skywalker on Blu-ray. You want me to make people even more mad?
Yeah.
I really look forward to rewatching it. Want me to make
Yeah.
people even more upset?
Yeah,
I've
sure.
had The Last Jedi on DVD, and I haven't rewatched it yet, and I still don't want to.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah, 90 minutes of a good movie is in there.
mhm. Honestly, I haven't rewatched The Last Jedi in a while, but my Star Wars opinions fluctuate all the time. But as a current update, this is
It's
getting
nice that you
too off
haven't
topic.
recorded them to where people could use them against you.
No, but I'm gonna say another one to let people use it against me. Again, this might be the worst it's
Okay,
gotten.
I'm
This is
ready.
about to be dark. Like it's about
We
to
haven't even
be.
gotten into Soul yet, and I'm
I
enthralled. I'm
know,
just like,
but
what
before
could it
people are
be?
gonna stop listening.
Because you've said some controversial Star Wars things in the past, even though a lot of them I agree with you on.
All right, this is maybe taking it too far, and I'm sorry.
Here we go.
The reaction the overall Star Wars community has had to The Last Jedi has started to make me resent liking Star Wars so much that out of spite, I just am going to call The Last Jedi the best Star Wars movie. And I realize that the thing that I like about that, because if you look at the full trilogy, I like where they're going with the story the most in The Last Jedi. They rescinded a lot of that with The Rise of Skywalker, and it was still a good movie, but I was just like, you were going in a good direction with The Last Jedi. Why'd you do that?
It feels like two alternate endings.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like they were like, oh, you didn't like this? Well, now you can pretend that we didn't mean all the stuff we were clearly trying to tell you in The Last Jedi. But anyway, my point is The Last Jedi kind of does now exist as this anomaly in that trilogy where it kind of seems like it's trying to do something completely different than the other two movies are doing. And as a result, I get why people think it seems like this weird outlier in Star Wars. But for me, it just makes me realize that I really like Rian Johnson as a director. And I almost kind of view The Last Jedi as its own thing that is like special in Star Wars in like great filmmaking from a great director, which is Rian Johnson. And the reason why I can so confidently say that is because Knives Out is also amazing. So
Doesn't that have Cap in it?
yes.
Yes.
So those are two very solid movies by one director. And I'm more excited about what he does next than anything Star Wars has to do next.
Even after that exciting wasn't D23, the investors announcements.
That's exciting, but again, like I've just
Obi-Wan.
That's very exciting, but again, Star Wars is just the teeniest bit soured to me. So, I'm borderline more excited about like the Knives Out sequel or whatever that's coming.
So, would you say as time has gone, you've liked The Last Jedi more or less?
More. It's like I said, it's fluctuated. So I think at some point I liked it less, but I'd say I'm back into liking it more. It's just like I said, it's got the best moments. Like there are
I do
moments
think if they edited it down to 90 minutes, it would have been the best of the three. But the subplots are so bad that it almost makes it unbearable with that runtime.
I do agree because I can't justify, again, I don't even like, I like the theme and what the like Casino Planet stuff is saying, so that isn't even my least part. I don't like the DJ guy
Oh,
whole
DJ is
subplot.
like, I'll say it, he's worse than Jar Jar. Maybe.
It's a weird character. But again, it's all like the things I don't like to me serve a greater theme that I think is really good storytelling, so I don't care. So that, yeah, that's my new controversial Star Wars take. You got to have one every few episodes on comment section.
Oh, yes. Did you ever see that Mandalorian with I'm pretty sure you know what happened, right? Did you ever see that one? Yeah, with Luke.
I didn't. No, I would have to skip to there. I haven't gotten there yet.
I've only seen one episode, but I really want to sit down and watch that episode. And then I'll go and see the rest later, but I want to see that one so bad.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten on a lot of Disney-related tangents in this episode. We should probably talk about
Soul. In retrospect, sequel trilogy, much as I liked it, you know, I enjoyed Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, kind of Last Jedi. I mean, there's some good, great stuff in Last Jedi. It's just there's a lot of crap you gotta sit through too. They didn't do a good job with Luke in that trilogy. Overall, it was
I think they did a good job with Luke in The Last Jedi.
I know, but that's 1 out of 3.
I know, but that's exactly the point I'm getting at, which is done now. I'll let you know how I feel in 10 episodes from now.
Yes.
10 episodes from now, I'm going to be saying The Last Jedi is the only good movie. Just period.
Everything else is crap. Screw Gone with the Wind and The Godfather. It's The Last Jedi.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you almost resent The Mandalorian because of how much people love it over the sequel trilogy and The Last Jedi?
I say I want to like The Mandalorian more than I actually do. Of what I've seen so far, it's this kind of like sort of dull Western where it's like cool, but it's not enormously exciting. Like it's just kind of like this guy sort of drifting from place to place. It's nowhere near as exciting or action-packed or just impactful or emotional as something like The Last Jedi. So there is maybe a little bit of resentment. Well, I've seen 4 or 5 episodes of The Mandalorian. It's clearly not as emotional of an experience as The Last Jedi.
3 or 4 more than I have.
Yeah. It's extremely solid. It's just
something about it just doesn't feel Star Wars. Like there's no Jedi.
I don't know. I guess that's why it's good, but it feels very safe to me. Like it's like this will not disappoint hardcore evangelical Star Wars fan. That's what that show feels like to me. And I think that's where maybe some of the resentment comes from, but I do think it's very good.
All right. Now we've touched on Marvel and Star Wars. Let's shift back to Pixar.
Okay.
All right.
We had to step back and give context to our opinions on movies.
Yes, I don't even know how we got there. All right. So what was your anticipation for this movie?
It's weird. I think I realized what some of my unconscious anticipations were after, like, as I was watching it. Because I will say, like, there are a lot of things I did not expect, like, just from not really looking into the plot that much or anything. But I think what I realized is I kind of knew what the plot was, but going into the movie, I was really, like, I think unconsciously, I think there are a couple things I hoped didn't happen based on the trailers.
Really?
And it turns out that all of that was erased. And I'll say, part of me was like, I don't know if I want the entire movie to be in this soul world. Like, because I was part of me was expecting that it was going to be like, oh, the first 8 minutes are going to be this beautiful like New York jazz thing, and then it's going to be this cartoony soul drifting cloud world. And where there's been like, and especially what we saw in the trailers, it was complete blackness with the two characters just standing in it.
Yeah.
And I was sort of thinking like, there's got to be more to it than that. I didn't know what was going to happen. And as soon as, I mean, we'll get into the full plot, but as soon as it was like, oh, this is how they're going to go back into, like, it's the majority of the movie isn't going to be in that realm. That said, that realm was much cooler in the movie than what they showed in the trailer, which is not much.
Was that one gag that we didn't like in the trailer even in there?
I noticed that, yes. It wasn't even in the movie.
Which thank God for that.
Yeah, I know. Which, when the movie was over, I was just like, wow, the one thing that gave us pause wasn't even in it. It really feels like both Onward and Soul had this weird thing where it was like, we're going to completely mess up your brain with the trailers. You're not going to know what to expect with these trailers. And the Soul trailer was like pretty good, but it just had this like, I really don't like, it felt like, I think my worry was that there was so much potential and they weren't going to deliver on it.
Yeah.
Because of like, is like, I don't know. I saw what the story could be, like I imagined what it could be, and I was like, what if it ends up just being kind of like another Inside Out, or
especially because it's from the same director, Pete Docter.
Right, yeah. So I didn't totally know what to expect, and that I had that going into it. So I forget what the original question was. Expectations.
What was your anticipation?
But yes, I did. That is all to say, I did expect it to be very good.
Did you watch it on Christmas Day?
No, I watched it only like a week ago or something.
Oh, you waited that long?
I honestly think that I was a little like, I get this way with movies. I anticipate like to the highest extent, where once it's just released out in the world and it's just out there, I feel this like anxiety where I'm just like, I never feel like it's the right time to watch it, because I honestly feel like I'm going to like it so much that it just needs to be the right time. So I care more about finding the exact right time to fully get into the mood of watching it, more than I care about watching it right away.
This was how I ended my Christmas, was watching Soul. So for me, before we get into the next segment, did you ever see the short they did that would premiered in front of this?
I forgot to check that out. No.
Oh. I didn't like it, but I don't really like the Pixar shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Now for me, I loved the concept that they had and what we saw in the trailers, minus the one gag that wasn't even in there.
Yeah.
And I remember way back over a year ago, we were way more excited for this than we were for Onward. Man, were we almost mean to Onward in those specials. We were trashing it like, this is going to be trash. It's going to suck. But for me, for 2020, this and Wonder Woman were the movies I was the most excited for the year. Mm-hmm. And it was my most excited I was for a Pixar movie since Coco. Now, some people may say, what about Toy Story 4? Those trailers for Toy Story 4 were not very good, so that's why it won in that. But it was the most excited I've been since Coco. Is it weird to think that one's like 3 years old now?
Yeah, it's weird.
All right, so let us get into it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
we haven't gotten into our opinions on Soul. I was going to write a review on like Facebook and stuff, but by then I spent enough time on the computer. I was like, people, leave me alone. I'm not going to give my opinion yet. I meant to. I forgot to be honest. But let us get into it. What were your initial thoughts? So we'll go more into it later. But what were your initial thoughts on Soul. What did you think of it?
Okay, so here's where I have to admit that it was great. No, I just I wanted to build anticipation. I like I said as I was watching it, I had these like unconscious things that I was like, how are they going to do this? How is this going to line up with the trailers? But in the end, as maybe it was some form of tempering expectations, but I think it was actually much, much better than I even expected. I really loved the interpretations of each of the worlds, their New York and their afterlife place.
Or before life?
Yes, that because I thought the character designs in general have been some of the best Pixar has done in a while to me. I really loved the weird like the Jerrys, which had like this weird like two, it's just a weird like 2D, like they don't exist in the same type of space. It reminded me of Prismo from Adventure Time, obscure reference, but he kind of takes up space in the same way. So just in terms of visuals, that was great. It was also some of the most beautiful Pixar visuals because they had to like give this feeling of like appreciating the little things in life, which I thought resulted in some like really like hyper beautiful animation of just like trees and sunlight and stuff. Which brings me to really what I thought was best about it, which is to me probably one of my favorite Pixar like cruxes, themes, like the soul of the movie is
Oh, you threw it
basically,
in there, the title.
yeah, being that like the purpose of life not just being this one thing that you're destined to do, rather it's just to live and just appreciate it. I thought was really uh I thought was a fantastic moral or lesson, if you will. And another one like Coco that I love, being so tied to music, like myself, of course, being in jazz bands and playing trombone, which was a large part of Soul because of the student that played trombone. I related to it a lot. So
It did bring
I,
back some flashbacks, didn't it?
yes, yes, definitely middle school band. Yeah. I don't know. In terms of really quick thoughts, I don't have much else to say. I thought it was like it was classic Pixar formula in many ways. Like you see a lot of the same stuff that they do, the whole hero's journey thing, and in a weird way, like with the body switch thing, and like, oh, we have to switch back into our right bodies before this time. It was like it's kind of Onward again, which
Yes.
came to my mind. But I don't know. There's just something like the like life lesson or like thing to take away feels very different. There's just a very different thing to take away in each well done Pixar movie, and I think that makes the like it's kind of what storytelling is all about. You can't really do something completely unique, but you do your own little twist on what is a very beautiful sentiment. So I thought that was really good about it.
All right. Now for me, where am I? Okay, it's Untitled 2. Yes. That's the document title. All right. So for me, I had very high expectations for this movie. Sky high expectations. No, not that horrible live action superhero movie,
Oh yeah.
but just very high
Yes.
expectations. Now, overall, I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. And my opinion kept changing with each act of the movie. Like, honestly, the first act, I was like, I don't know, I might be tuning out of this. Second act got better. And by the third act, I really was enjoying it. And overall, I thought it was a good movie. I didn't get to watch it a second time. I think I might have more positive experience the second time now that I know more. I've only watched it 1.5 times, but I did like throughout. I appreciated it more and more, and by the end, I was like, you know what, that was good. Wasn't as great as I was hoping it would be. Like, I don't think it's a top tier. I think it's more of a middle one. But overall, nice experience and a nice movie to end 2020 on.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think I also thought that like it improved as the acts of the movie went along. I think that the context of where it was going, like I think I really liked how it felt like it was going in a different direction with each act of the movie. Like there were a lot of like subplots that kind of drove things, like it's starting with like basically just introductory, like I'm trying to get a more performance type role, which is my dream, and I'm maybe not totally satisfied being a middle school band director kind of thing. And then like that mission is halted with death, and then there's this new mission of like I gotta get out of here. Yeah, I know. Which is like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta live. I can't miss my shot.
Also, be careful what you say when you say, if I do this, I could die a happy man. Never say that. Never, ever utter those words, because it will be, poof, you're gone.
Yeah, exactly. But then it was like meeting 22, and then the new thing being like, oh, okay, so I gotta use you as a way to get out of here. I gotta find my spark. Or find her spark. And then all of a sudden they find a way out, and then the mission changes completely to like, whoops, we switched bodies. Now we gotta like now it's kind of becomes a little more learning more about like 22 experiencing life, but also there's this like Onward style mission of like, we have a time crunch where we gotta change the body. And then of course it changes again in the third act with like 22 is clearly like realized that she actually wants to live now. So it kind of changes how everything is going, and that's where I think it gets really great. The whole ending I thought was great, but I liked not knowing where to expect it was going next quite a bit, that it just kind of like by the end you're just like taking all of this and going like, ah yes, life, I've ruminated.
All right, so now let's dive deep into the plot and let's talk about what worked in the movie. And I'll start off with this because I forgot about it until I rewatched like the first third yesterday.
Yeah.
How cool was it to have the band play a bad version of the Disney logo music?
Oh, I loved that.
That was such a nice touch at the beginning.
That was the best Disney intro of all time. That was so awesome. It really sinks in. Like it was such a great way, like to start kind of telling the story before we've even gotten into the visuals of the movie, because in a way it's kind of saying like, this is sad and depressing and sounds awful. This is
not the life Joe wants.
Yeah, exactly. He does not want this life. And you're already like, it already gets you thinking where you're like, oh, like I was starting to wonder, like, I think at first I was thinking, like, is it going to show him learning to play music, or is it going to show like I'm just an awful
At
band?
first,
It
you're
turned out
like,
to be
"Wow,
that.
Disney, you've really lowered your standards, haven't you?"
Yeah, yeah,
Or like your musicians on strike or something.
yeah, yeah. You didn't want to pay a good uh, wind ensemble, so you actually just got a middle school band. I
Is
see.
this Pete Docter's nephew or something playing this? Is he like
Yeah,
trying out? Oh, Pete Docter's nephew, you gotta try and find something else to do with your life. It's not
yeah,
gonna work.
yeah. This is not the dream.
No.
Um, yeah, that was hilarious. It was a good start.
Yes. And also, I'll quick mention that, like you said earlier, I love the character designs that they had, both like the human form and the soul form. Where like the human form, they look human, but there's still something like cartoony about them. Like a lot of
Yeah, which
times, like
is
Pixar, like the humans, they'll try to make ultra realistic nowadays. But there's something nice about like it. It's it's Pixar. Yeah, it doesn't look fully real. It's not
yeah, no,
pretending
I
to
think
be live action or something.
yeah. I don't think anyone in general, I don't think anyone does 3D animation better than Pixar, but I also just specifically don't think anyone does humans better than Pixar. They never usually look uncanny or weird, and they know how to make them look more cartoony. Um, some are better than others, but this was some of the best in terms of
Yes.
human centric Pixar movies.
And also, like the designs they had for the soul, they're so simple, yet you can still tell who the character. You can differentiate
Yeah,
them, and you can still say, okay, this is clearly Joe.
yeah, I liked that a lot.
Yeah. And also, I'll throw out there Jamie Foxx. I almost said as Electro, as Joe, was very good in the
Yeah,
movie, and as well as Tina Fey, who that character could have been annoying, but I thought she did a very good job at
yeah, I
playing
think that was
22.
actually. I think that was one of the biggest like sighs of relief as it was happening. Was I was worried that that was going to be a kind of an annoying side character, and I truly didn't find it annoying at all. It was just like I thought uh, something like I think part of me was almost expecting like a sort of wacky, annoying personality, sort of like uh from Wreck It Ralph, the candy girl,
Oh
uh
yeah.
something like that. Which I don't mind that character. I'm not
Did
saying
I ever
that,
tell
but
you real quick? I tried watching Wreck-It Ralph 2, and I never bothered to finish it. I was like, I can't do any more of this.
yeah, I think you did mention that, but yeah, in terms of, I mean, the first one is better if you want to go back to that, but I was expecting somewhat more of a classically annoying character. I appreciated that it was more of a. I appreciated that 22's personality type was more of like just a angsty sort of not annoying but just sarcastic, uh which was, I thought they were gonna act like a child that they had to like um annoyingly trudge through the plot or something. um but I really loved both of the main characters.
And
um
22, oh, what were you gonna say something?
no, you can go.
And like 22, not wanting to come to Earth was like an interesting character motivation. Because honestly, if you saw the way the life is, would you want to join in? No
Yeah,
way.
yeah, I think that's a like I said, I really like all of the like theming and the little points they made in this movie, because like it's sort of like I think practically everyone when they meet 22 is going to think, I get it, I understand where you're coming from, why you wouldn't even want to bother coming here. You can just stay in this weird pre-life soul place and just chill in your little box, and I get it. But then the movie kind of shows you, you know, it gives you maybe something to appreciate
Yes.
about this hellscape.
All right. Now, before I keep going, did you have some things that specifically worked for you that you wanted to bring up?
I mean, if we're going in order of plot, I think we covered most of the beginning. Like I said,
real quick, the opening did a really good job of setting up who Joe is, what he wants out of life, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good, obviously in a movie like that, there has to be kind of a quick setup, and I think it was pretty flawless. Like you get all the motivations and start caring about people very quickly.
So did you have anything you wanted to bring up or that specifically worked for you?
I mean, I really like kind of I think that this worked. That I kind of like I was saying about the Jerrys, how they just don't conform to the space you expect of a 3D animated movie. I like the ways that animation can play with stuff like that, and particularly when it comes to other realms, or you're trying to portray something that a human can't comprehend. I thought that they did a lot of that in a really cool way without making it horrifying for what is essentially still a children's movie. But I did I don't know, it's almost I kind of did get a sense of dread or cosmic horror when it is just this big, when he first goes there and there's this big light slowly moving towards
the escalator,
the beyond, and this weird star pattern. It was kind of a cosmic horror kind of thing. If you're someone who doesn't want to go there, it is kind of an interesting creepiness of
I
just
do love the part where he's running and he says, "Why aren't you running?" And the guy goes, "I don't know."
Yeah.
And the 107-year-old who's been waiting for a while.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, so I thought that all worked. I mean, I guess in order, if we're getting into the Great Beyond stuff in general, I say this again with reverence to the entire movie, but it probably is my least favorite part when they're in the Great Beyond area. It's a little bit of setup. I like when they're in New York more. That's more fun to me. But yeah, I thought everything worked up to this point.
Yeah, I thought the moments in New York, specifically when Joe's in his body, were when the movie had its greatest strengths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was even though this isn't my favorite Pixar movie, this was that was them at their peak. This is when they know how to do what they do so well.
Right. I don't know. Is there what about this next section of stuff? Well, I guess we'll say the next stretch of the movie is kind of everything up until they are portaled back to Earth.
If we're going in chronological, I do have some stuff that happens before that in here.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
All right, I really liked how we knew Joe was going to die, and after his performance with that one lady, they kept teasing it, the bricks fall on him, he almost gets hit by the car. So many gruesome ways you could go.
Yeah,
finally,
I loved that.
It's the manhole that gets him in the end.
Yeah, I loved that. It was so cartoony.
Yes, very Tex Avery or Chuck Jones
Yeah, Mr. Bean, but he actually dies.
I mean, you wait for that to happen. You're just
Part of me almost wish I didn't know how he died from the trailer, because it would have been really fun for that
Yes.
scene to go on for
How's
like
it gonna
5
happen?
full minutes and being like, oh God, he just got his big break. What's happening?
Oh yes. All right. Also, I thought that having Joe be 22's mentor did a great job of showing the arc he goes through, and like kind of it sets in motion what he'll find what his purpose in life is.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's
Yeah,
pretty much all I
there are
have
definitely
for that section.
yeah, there are definitely parallels between like he's a teacher, but he doesn't know if he wants to be. And then now he's a mentor, which is kind of like a teacher, and he's not sure that he wants to be, but he's using it as a means to an end. So that was kind of interesting.
All right, so now we're at the section of the movie where they're portaled back. As this time, 22.
Actually, before that part, because I kind of wanted to talk about the part leading up to the portal back when they go into the like there's like they're going into like the zone where they're all the people who are in the zone,
Oh yeah,
kind of going into this realm. And then there was the like desert of just like lost souls wandering around, which were really
yeah,
creepy and cool. And also like another example of like they looked a little off. Like there's these like particle effects to them that like I just think these drastically different animation styles were really cool, all being in the same realm. And then they meet the psychedelic pirate ship people,
oh yes,
which I thought were pretty funny. The main one who sends them back being the what was his name? Moonwind, who ends up being who you find out that the reason why he's in the zone or like in such a meditative state, he's alive, he lives in New York, he's in some kind of meditative state. And while some of the other people are like gurus and actual meditators, it turns out that his meditative state is sign spinning on a corner in New York
yeah.
City, which I thought was hilarious. So that's how they end up coming
I
back.
rewatched like the first third yesterday. Do they? I think don't they show him spinning a sign, like during that montage where it's like foreshadowing
Yeah.
how Joe might die.
Oh, okay. That part I didn't notice that. I have to
I
rewatch
think that's
it.
what happened. Yeah, I do remember. I did see someone spinning a sign yesterday.
He probably then, but I wouldn't have known. I didn't know there was a sign spinner character, so I didn't have my eye out for it.
Oh yes, there we go. So
But yes, they're basically looking like, okay, we gotta somehow get back to Earth.
yeah, and
So they make
they
a
did a
portal.
great job. Like again, and even though the Soul World was not my favorite part, it's actually my least favorite part of the movie. Visually, they did a great job with everything there.
Yeah, no, that was that part was just a visual experience for me. It was just a lot of setup. Like they have to explain how all this soul stuff works in
Yes.
their realm. There's the zone, there's the lost souls. You start to apply it to your life. You start to see like, oh, what is a lost soul? Oh, it's a hedge fund manager or whatever. That was funny. Where he was just like, what am I doing with my life?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
was it like stock market or something?
Yeah, hedge funds or something.
He throws the computers and he's like, live your lives,
Yeah.
people, or something.
Yeah, I liked that because that would be the last thing in the entire world I would want to do. So, but then they what I guess what happens is Joe is desperate to get back into his body, but 22 falls into the Earth portal with him. And whoopsie, Joe's in the hospital, and whoopsie, the soul, 22's soul gets lodged into Joe's body, or 22's soul gets lodged into Joe's body, and Joe's soul gets thrown into the therapy cat in the hospital. So now they're both living with souls and bodies on Earth, but in the wrong bodies.
Yes.
Yes.
They need an exorcist or something.
Yes, exactly. And they kind of do. They find an exorcist, and it's a hippie. Like this is something like this was like when it got to this part, I was like, huh, I didn't expect this to be a part of the movie. I didn't expect
There
it
was
to be.
nothing. I'm a little
Yeah,
surprised they didn't put something like that in the trailer.
that they could almost make it like an Onward thing where it's like they could have presented like, oh, it's a movie where they get trapped in the wrong bodies.
Exactly. And honestly,
Yeah.
if I saw that premise, because when I first saw that, I was like, okay, this is a bit cliche and dumb. And like if I
Yeah.
had seen that in the trailer, I'd be like, I would have lost a lot of interest in the
Yeah.
movie.
No, I really think they had, in an odd way, smart trailers for these movies because
Although
that is
I
not.
do kind of disagree with you on Onward and listening to it, and because I re-listened to the episode, like with Onward, like we talked about how if these hadn't been on Disney Plus, we wouldn't have watched them.
Yeah.
That is the exact opposite of a trailer's job.
Well, when I'm talking when I say it's a good trailer, I'm saying it I'm saying it in that same contrarian perspective where I'm not thinking about sales. I'm thinking of uh a trailer can like make going into a movie feel more predictable uh or give away too much. But I think to me the best trailers, and they're not the best for making you go out and pay for it, but the best for adding to the experience of watching the movie, are trailers that mislead you. I like that.
But I do like a trailer job is to make you want to see the
Yes,
movie.
you're
Like,
correct. In terms of like objective, like business sense, these were Onward particularly was not a good trailer. Soul might have
Soul
been a
was a
good
good
trailer, yeah,
trailer.
because it is a cliche. Like if I would have, and again, like I guess I'll say now, like I thought that entire plot sequence was completely fine and totally enjoyable. That when they were in the wrong bodies, they didn't like ham up the "we're in wrong bodies" body humor too much.
Yeah, it's not like 22 left. She came back and Joe
Yeah,
was licking himself. What are you doing?
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
nothing.
They could have done that. It was tame because that's been done so many times in other movies. It was just it was clear that the reason they did it was a means to get 22 to appreciate the idea of life
Yes.
by
And
being in a
also,
human
I
body.
think that having them switch bodies, Joe, it makes it so Joe can kind of see his life in a
Yes.
way that he normally wouldn't. Like, I think when they both go to see his mom, who is voiced by, she's voiced by the mom from the Cosby Show, right?
Joe's mother, Felicia Rashad.
Yeah,
I actually, oh yes,
that's the mom from the Cosby Show. So
yeah.
nice to see how like people from the Cosby Show are able to get work, even though the star
Oh,
ruined everything.
yeah, definitely. Everyone except for that guy
Yes,
deserved to
he can
to
make his Jello
find
pudding
success.
pops in the toilet water
Yeah,
from now on.
in prison.
Yes.
Um uh yeah, what were you saying about her?
Like, oh, she did a great job voicing Joe's mom
Oh
in the
yeah, I like
movie.
that character
And
a
I think
lot.
like that was one of my favorite scenes was when it might be my favorite scene of the movie, even though I like the third act more, but having Joe and 22 in the wrong bodies going to see his mom, and Joe sees his life from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And also the barber shop too, where
Yeah,
like
I like
22 was able to like experience life, and he saw
mhm.
more like the simple enjoyments of life and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
You know, it's interesting. Apparently we picked up on, because I really was thinking, I was looking at this and noticing all of the ways that 22 was like noticing these little things about life. I wasn't as much noticing from Joe's perspective that he's like gets this cat's eye view of his life that he would have never gotten to see otherwise. So now I really want to watch this again soon now, because
It's like we had two different point of views on it.
yeah, which was yeah, it's interesting. It's like it's really two well fleshed out perspectives, because there's two way, like being disappointed of your life, being in your life and looking at it from a new perspective, and then just being new to life and like uh just life in general. Like from 22's perspective, it's just like having never lived a life.
Yeah.
What's good about life? Or on the other perspective, living a life that you don't feel fulfilled in, what's good about life? And they kind of show both of those answers, which is interesting. So where did we leave off in? Oh yeah, so they switch bodies, and
Yes.
Oh yeah, they there's a is it they are back in New York, and I think they're still trying to help 22 find like a passion, right?
Yeah, like the spark thing.
So she like tries pizza and secretly thinks it's the greatest, which I don't blame her at all.
Oh, how could you not?
I know.
Great.
It looked delicious.
It's not like what would be a horrible. Oh, it's not like she visited Cracker Barrel. She's like, "Oh, you people eat this junk."
Yeah, I know. Pizza really is a perfect, like, if you were to
and
be
also,
an alien trying food. Yeah.
Didn't Joe try to eat that when 22 talks about how they didn't have like senses in the before world? I think I watched it this morning. I saw that.
Yeah. When they're in the like Great Beyond, in that
or at least
like,
it's hinted to be like pizza.
Yeah, they there's like a like that realm where the mentors try and help find the person's spark, which they mislead you in the movie to think is like your one true passion, that is the meaning of your life and your one true meaning of life. So like music or cooking or something like that, sports. In that they couldn't taste the pizza. So it was like all of the motions without actually being able to really taste it. Which would be terrible.
Yes.
Why would you want to make pizza if you can't taste it?
It's like, what's the point?
I know. It's just. I mean, I guess there are people.
And there's a pizza guy listening to this right now, thinking, "You have no idea the hell it is to not be able to eat this right now."
Yeah, I know. But if you can imagine, there are people unhinged from reality enough to think that it's a good idea to take all the time to make a cake in like an artful way and then just put a bunch of fondant on it, which essentially makes it inedible. So I don't know if you know what fondant is, but it's that,
I don't.
like,
what is it?
There's some cakes, usually more artsy looking cakes, that like they tried to make a cake look like something, where
like they do it for like a contest or something, or just for like Instagram.
Definitely like that, but even like regular birthday cakes I've seen sometimes where it's like a weird sheet. It's like a film. It's like maybe like that thick of a film of gooey sugar that it's disgusting.
Gooey sugar.
I don't know if gooey is the right word. It's like you can peel it off. Like if you've ever seen like flowers on a cake, like little decorated flowers or something like that.
Yeah.
Like on a wedding cake, something like that. That's usually fondant.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes cakes are made where fondant is covering the entire thing. And it's like, why even bother
exactly.
Because the point of using fondant is to make it look like artsy, like you're trying to make it look like something. But at that point, you're basically just sculpting clay. You might as well just use clay, because you're not going to eat it at that point. But anyway, So I don't know why anyone would have chosen cooking to be their spark in this, because they wouldn't be able to taste it afterwards, which would be
Exactly.
insane.
Maybe it's kind of like when 22, like when she saw the fire or whatever. Like maybe that person's like, I like playing with an oven because things can
Oh
burn.
yeah, that's true. But as it turns out, we find out later that finding your spark isn't really about just finding the one thing
Yes.
that you do. But yes, bringing it back. She tries pizza, and that's great. She really likes the little twirly things, which are also great. Those are I like those little twirly things.
What was the thing? There was some like homeless dude at the subway. I don't remember what they did, but like when they're
Yeah.
separated, what was it?
Mhm. He's playing guitar with like a guitar case open in the subway.
Hey, does she give him like coins or something? Or
Oh, she gives him a piece of a bagel.
oh yeah,
Yeah, but just because she doesn't understand what you're supposed to.
yeah,
It was a gesture of goodwill.
yes. Her heart was in the right place.
But kind of like the pizza is like, now that she has a body to experience music with, she understands it in a different context. So now she like feels it in a more visceral way and understands why someone would like music.
Yes.
Which is like, she's kind of going through all these senses, kind of realizing why living is cool.
Oh yes. All right. Oh, also, what was a really good scene was again, like moving Joe forward on his journey was when he saw 22 try to help that one band student who came to his place to like get help.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember, was that the same one who got lost in the music, or was that a different one? Remember in the
that
beginning?
was yes, I think so, because during that scene when they're like sitting on the stairs and 22 in Joe's body is kind of trying to help her or something. I liked that she 22 kind of was like noticing someone from the perspective of being on Earth in a body, seeing the perspective of someone who is like so passionate about something that they're like getting into the flow or going into the zone. Yeah, that was that scene.
Oh yeah. So I don't know if any more for that section. Well, I guess if we wanted to go into like when 22 takes Joe's spark, or did you have anything else before that in the plot?
No, I don't think. Wait, when 22 takes.
Well, once it's like
or
she thinks like she has all the badges,
oh,
and
like
Joe's saying like, "No, you lived my life, jerk."
oh yeah, I get what you're saying. Like he's basically saying they get to, it's sort of like around the third act where there starts to be a conflict between them.
Yeah.
Because she's starting to realize like, maybe I do want to live. And he's like, well, the only reason you got there was because you lived my life.
Yeah, she cheated.
Yeah, but I mean, as it turns out, like, I guess I would say it was more so just being alive that
yes,
that did it. There are definitely I guess what I would say about this and some parts in the soul world, there were some parts where it was like, I mean, I get why, Joe, but I mean, you know, to me I felt like, yeah, you're verging on being a little bit of a jerk there. I know you want to live, I don't blame you for that. But no, mostly just because
well, maybe it's a little bit like, it almost feels like if she was able to attain something like that so easily, it almost made it so that what he spent his life doing was more worthless. Because anyone could kind of like that.
That's true. But it came. I thought the character flaws in this were really good and were a good testament to the characters, though, because like it came from a place of misunderstanding where uh um basically like I'm I think it came from a place of misunderstanding where I think Joe ended up being upset with 22 because he saw it as sort of a like hijacking his life kind of
Yeah.
thing. And that like he was the one who knew all those people and worked hard to be in that position. So, I mean, it was his body. And then she's just like, I think I'm just going to slip in here. So, yeah. I will say I would have been really upset. I guess I kind of knew that they weren't going to do it, but I would have been really upset if it was just like, if he was like, you know what? You can have my life.
Oh, that would have been weird.
Part of me
Be an imposter to my family the rest of whatever along the body
like,
keeps
I
going.
know they're not gonna. I was like, I know they're not gonna do this, but if they did, I'm gonna be upset.
So yeah, with that, with kind of the argument that the two have about how she just lived Joe's life, I think it really showed again, like 22. It makes her go more on her journey of where she's going to like choose to like, all right, I'm ready to live.
Yes. And that's another one of the morals or lessons is that being ready to live is mostly just about just living in a way.
All right, so it looks like for this, I guess the third section, ironically, my favorite section, I only have one more point to make of it, of what I liked.
Really? Post like classic third act, there's a falling out kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where you're starting from, but like I guess
my thing is how Joe comes back. That's where my thing it starts at.
Oh yeah. I guess leading up to that, they briefly go back to the soul realm. Do they both go back and then?
Isn't it like they both go back and then Joe returns?
Yeah, because Moonwind, basically, their goal was to get to Moonwind, and he helps them switch back their bodies.
And then, like, they have their falling out. He's back, and then he kind of realizes that. Is it then before he comes back that he kind of realizes what life is? Doesn't he have that little montage where he thinks about like his students, his mom, and stuff like that?
Yes. And that was probably, to me, the most tear-worthy part of the movie. That was a great moment.
That was like the payoff to everything that's been building up towards.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of like, because to me, this is like the crux, the saddest or most tear-worthy part of Onward was when he's like slowly realizing like he wanted to do all these things with his dad. And he starts to think, and there's a montage of realizing that, oh, he did all those things with his brother. His brother's his father figure. That's a great montage too. So it's kind of the moment where you're
giving it up for his brother.
Yeah, exactly. It's this moment, like you're getting that moment of realization for the character where it clicks with them what this has all been for.
Yes.
Which was great. But yeah, I don't remember the exact order, but they have falling out. They switch back their bodies, and 22 is stuck in just living back in the soul realm where Joe is back in his body. He performs his
Yes.
big show. All that.
All right. So for me, I guess my last point of what worked is that once again, having Joe return to help 22 kind of completed his arc of kind of knowing what is kind of like his purpose. And it's like mentoring, helping others, kind of like what he was able to do in his teaching role. And then I think having that realization kind of makes it to where he earns the right to go back. Like the other times, he does come back through different ways, but this time he earns coming back. He doesn't have to fear the Reaper coming after him, at least for a while.
Yes, the very terrifying Reaper, Terry.
Yes. Wouldn't that have been an amazing post-credit scene? That like Joe walks out and then you see like a Reaper hand reach out for him and says,
"Oh yeah,
someday, Joe."
Yes, someday. Yeah, that would be very different.
Yes,
very different ending. But I really that was one of the best parts of the movie when he comes back, and I really liked the way they came back. Like he started playing the piano to kind of go into the zone, and then you realize that that's his way of trying to go back. And maybe even he's kind of, as he's playing the piano and looking back on his life and the things to appreciate about life, like you looking back, you kind of understand that he's kind of accepting that maybe his time is up. Maybe he does have to, like, because in a way he did not expect to get a second chance.
Yeah.
So in that moment when he's like going into the zone playing the piano, he thinks it might be the last time he's doing that, which made that whole scene really heavy. And then but yeah, he gets that second chance.
Oh yes. So yeah, those are kind of my points about what worked. Before we get to what could have been improved, do you have anything else about what worked for you?
I think so. I mean, honestly, just recounting the plot like we just kind of did was my list of things that worked. It's just kind of the whole thing. I'm probably not gonna have much for what didn't work.
Nothing else
honestly.
that like kind of jumped out at you of, oh, I really like this moment. Or we pretty much covered all of them.
We covered a lot of it. I mean, I could sit here all day and try and remember like little moments I really liked, but overall, I mean, other things that I liked would be similar to things we already covered. So,
all right.
Yeah,
so
we can move on.
Now we get to the special about what could have been improved. And there's only like two things I had. Again, I really liked the movie. Not as much as I was hoping I would, but still overall I really liked it. There were just two things that bothered me. I think we mentioned this before is the stuff in like The Great Before really didn't work for me that much. It almost felt, I was getting worried. It felt a little bit like it was trying to be too much like Inside Out. And I was a little worried,
Right.
Is this Pete Docter just going back and doing the same movie over again?
Yeah.
I thought overall that bit got a little dull, took up too much time, and a lot of the humor didn't work that well. Oh, I did like remember the part where Joe is like, is this HE double hockey sticks? And then all the ones go, hell, hell.
Yeah. That's a really funny twist of expectations, because I was like, oh, they're not going to say hell in a Pixar movie, and then they're
yes.
like, hell.
So yeah, I did think it took too much time, and honestly, it did get me concerned about the movie. Like, is this going to work? And then obviously, the more we got into it, the more it worked. But the first act, we had a great opening with Joe alive, and then when we get to the Great Before, I'm like, ugh, I don't know about this, but I do think maybe it could have been shorter. Maybe some of the humor worked on, but that was probably
Yeah.
like the biggest thing for me that didn't work as well as I thought it could have.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I I didn't really have any big complaints with the part. It was just happened to be my least favorite part. But I think that that's has more to do with the fact that um it's a lot of setup in it. But the thing that makes me like, I really wouldn't change it because I think it all pays off later.
I
Like
mean, I
they're
did
establishing
watch
a lot.
some of it this morning before we did this, and it was better. Like the Great Before was better the second time around. I just think maybe it could have been tighter paced, maybe picked up a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't have to be as long in there.
Yeah. Um that's true. I think I'd be curious to see how long it actually was, because part of me wonders if it just felt long because they were packing a lot of information. Like they had to explain like the concept of the great beyond place. They had to explain lost souls and people being in meditative states, and dead souls post life and souls pre life and mentors, and it was just very explanatory.
Yes.
um and it is like an almost 2-hour Pixar movie, right? So
Yeah, I think it's a bit longer than a lot of them. Let me check real quick.
I would wonder if it's the second longest Pixar movie after Coco.
How long is Coco? Oh wait,
I thought Coco was the one that was 2 hours, but maybe that's only with the short.
Soul was 101 minutes.
I guess that's not. Oh,
And,
Incredibles 2 was the one that was 2 hours.
oh yeah, Coco was 105 minutes, so it's about the same time as Soul.
I'm gonna check Incredibles 2 now because I feel like that I might have remembered it long. Yeah, Incredibles 2 is an hour and 56 minutes.
Oh, so
Wait,
close
no,
to
this
2
says.
hours.
Wait a second, that might be the Incredibles. That doesn't seem right. On Wikipedia, it says 118 minutes, which is 2 minutes shy of.
Oh, I wish on the listed Pixar movies it had the runtime.
Yeah, wow, they both are. Both the Incredibles and the Incredibles 2 are pretty long. The Incredibles is almost 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah, Incredibles 2 is only 3 minutes longer. I think that's probably the longest Pixar movie.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, I
Oh
didn't remember that.
wow, I didn't realize Coco was directed by Lee Unkrich, who directed Toy Story 3. So that's why those two were the best of the 2010s.
Yes. Um Indeed. Oh yeah, those are his. Oh, it looks like it's the only two movies he's directed.
Well, I mean, he did co-direct Toy Story 2, even though he's uncredited.
Oh yeah, I see that. As co-director, yeah. That's a solid lineup.
Yes.
Including the co-director ones. That is.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, the point is, for an animated movie, it's a little long. So I think a lot of that is there's a bit of a complicated setup in this movie, but I think to me it pays off very well.
Yeah, I think maybe it did get better the second time around, but the first time I'm like, oh, I don't know, am I gonna be disappointed?
Yeah.
And the other thing is that the Jerry who was doing the counting or whatever, he had like the beads he was counting.
Terry, the one that was
Terry, yes.
Terry. Yeah.
Overall, I'll just be straight about it. He was like my least favorite character. I found him a bit on the annoying side.
Right. Uh, he was mildly funny to me. He wasn't in it very much though.
No,
He served as just this very minor villain.
yeah. I mean, as long as like Joe and 22 are good, then you're overall good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those were the two things that didn't work. Overall, solid movie. All right. Now, two questions before we get into our final thoughts.
All right.
All right. This was the one we've waited all year to ask. There were two Pixar movies this year.
Yes.
Soul versus Onward. And now the question is to ask, which one was better?
Whoa.
So let us give our opinions. Because remember, we thought, oh, this will be another year where there's clearly one winner. And I don't think that happened this year. So,
yeah.
I mean, I remember thinking at the end of last year, thinking, how cool would it be? There's two good Pixar movies, and there's like people are debating about which one is better, not which one is good versus one that sucks. Which one is better? So, I guess I will turn to you first. In retrospect, I kind of wish we had done a special for Onward now, but yes.
Yeah, we didn't know.
Yeah, we thought theaters were going to be back.
Yeah.
It's almost been a year too, right? It's been 10 months.
Yeah, Onward came out in March, right?
Yeah.
It's January now.
The beginning of March, and we're kind of towards the end of January.
Yeah. Almost a year ago.
Yes. So, I shall turn to you first. Which was the best Pixar movie of 2020? We had two. It was a tighter race than we thought it would be at the beginning of the year.
See,
which one was your favorite?
It's such a tight race that I've been thinking about it a lot these past week or so. And I don't want to compare them almost because I like them in different ways, but to me, I guess I would overall say they are on such a similar level to me that I imagine it'll be a situation where I guess I'll say this. I honestly think Pixar is truly on such a good streak right now with the ones I have seen, which have been good.
Yeah, lucky you.
Truly, I think both Onward and Soul could potentially be in my top 5 Pixar movies.
Really?
Yeah, both.
That's a lot for like going 25 years, and now these two.
Yeah, I don't know. What can I say? And Coco would too. So 3.
Yes.
So 3 very recent ones. That said, it's and this is a test. I want this to only be seen as a pure testament to how unexpectedly good Onward was. But I would only very, very slightly say I think I prefer Soul by like 1 tiny tenth of a percentage. That's my feeling right now.
Okay. So you're voting for Soul right now.
Yes.
Final answer. We are putting a stamp on it. At least for now.
There are different ways I can rate Pixar movies because I will honestly say I will say that I think Onward is the most effective at being really sad.
Yes.
It still is. It's the most heart-wrenching Pixar movie by far to me. So it is better than Soul in some other ways. But I don't know. Just my feeling right now is teeniest bit of preference I'm giving to Soul.
All right. Now for me, I did really enjoy Soul. However, and I can't believe I'm saying this, if we had a time machine, I would say, what happened to Soul? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I liked Soul, but I loved Onward. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to have to say between the two, Onward was my favorite of the year. And now me point out something. Your favorite was Soul. My favorite was Onward. 2020 may have been a hellish year, but seriously, we have to give it up to Pixar. What a
Yeah.
year 2020 was for them. To honestly
Truly.
have I really liked both these movies. I just liked one more. And
Yeah.
it's not like 2017 where it was Coco versus Cars 3. Like these are both winners in their own
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah, no, that is really impressive. And I would add to that like we were talking about at the end of 2020 when we had our like top 5 movies of the year or whatever, that unfortunately we couldn't throw in like Soul and Wonder Woman 1984 into our list because they were not out yet when we read off our lists. So with this new information, if I were to go back and do a 2020 list, I think the top two movies of 2020 on my list would be Pixar movies.
Yes.
So that's pretty amazing.
Yes. What a year it was for Pixar.
Yeah.
Now, here's the question to ask. Pixar, we talk about great year.
Yeah.
Should Pixar stick to one movie a year, or is this something of they can do 2 movies a year? Now, I'm going to check real quick, but I think we've only had 3 years where there were multiple movies that came out in a year.
With Pixar.
Yeah.
Another one was Inside Out and the Good Dinosaur, right? Was that one of the
Yeah,
years?
2015, 2017, and 2020. Those are what we have.
Yeah. It seems like most of the track record is one of the two is kind of a bit of a dud.
Yes.
This year, I mean, I would say I would be probably more on the worried side if I knew they were going to consistently put out 2 movies a year. But it could be a sign that they're really onto something.
I think if I look at the list, 2021 it's 1 movie, 2022 it's 2 movies. One I really don't want to see, Lightyear. What more greenlit that?
Oh yeah, looking at the list, that could be the dud one for that year. We'll see.
Yes.
I actually have not read anything. I don't know if there's any information, but this Luca and Turning Red, I have not.
I swear there was something about it from the it's set in Italy. That's right.
Oh,
I remember because I watched the Disney
Which
investor
one, Luca?
thing. Yeah, Luca. It's a Italy set coming of age story.
I don't know if you've seen that. There's characters from Turning Red too. I clicked on that. I kind of like the character designs. There's this big fox.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think they talked about that in the investor meeting too. Oh yeah, there's a clip right down there. Follows Miley, a confident yet dorky 13-year-old girl torn between staying her mother's dutiful daughter and the chaos adolescence that has plagued us all.
Yes. Seems like Turning Red is very in the beginning because they only have they have at least a little animation examples from Luca.
Yeah, for me, overall, while this was a spectacular year for Pixar, the other two kind of makes me think it's best to have one a year. But if they do if there is a year where they have 2, I'm a little more positive because we just had this. And it's not, and they are both very good movies.
Yeah. In terms of recency, like, I think that we can honestly expect, like, I would be more surprised if Pixar came out with 2 bad movies in a year than anything now. They can only disappoint. So no pressure. Because officially, I know nothing about Luca or Turning Red, but they're already a couple of my most anticipated movies. Is that burglar?
I don't know. There was like something that hit the window. I know it scared me for a second. Oh man, there's an evil bird or spirit or something.
No, that's scary.
I know this might be a get law topic, dude. Sometimes there are things that keep falling over in this house. They keep falling over by themselves. And I don't know why, but I feel there's an evil spirit in this house. And I don't know why, because it would have happened just recently, too.
Yeah, I know. What would have died there?
I don't know. Maybe
it's like the ghost of like a rat.
Like a squirrel that fell off a tree in the backyard or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So back to Soul. Oh, out of me. Shall we get to our final thoughts on Soul?
Yes,
a little send out.
Yes, I don't have much else to say, so let's wrap it up.
Yes. So I guess I can go first because you like Soul more.
Right.
For me, I didn't love it as much as I was hoping to. But man, the more we got into it, the more I really enjoyed it. And overall, I thought it was a very good movie experience.
Yeah. And for me, like you mentioned with, like, you liked it more as it went along. And I would say I agreed, but to me, that like sense of building on things that happened previously in the movie made for like this incredible catharsis by the end that actually enhanced the overall movie experience. So for me, even if there were moments while watching it where it wasn't as good as I ended up feeling about it at the end, it ended up being so well put together, and so well told that it ended up being a movie that at the end, like, you understand it, you get the message, you enjoyed it, and I just couldn't really imagine a better way to tell that story. It just seemed narratively almost perfect in that sense. Again, a very typical Pixar in a lot of ways, but I think it's one of the best examples of the Pixar formula. So yeah, as a result, it's another Pixar movie that I consider easily top tier, upper echelon. That's Pixar to me. So great movie. Had I seen it earlier and it come out earlier, it would have gotten that medal.
Yes.
So
all right, guys. So there we go with our special on Soul. Our first Pixar special. We should do another Pixar one sometime.
Oh yes, we should. It should be next Pixar movie, just by nature of it being Pixar, we should cover it.
Oh yes. All right, guys. So there we go with our special about Soul. And you know what? Even though this was a special about Soul, we did find that rabbit hole quite a few times.
Oh, yeah. That is not, that's still a staple of this show.
Yes, we had our first rabbit hole for 2021.
That's true.
Yes.
So, thanks for tuning into this first episode of 2021. Very special. Soul.
Yes. So, guys, always remember to watch out, because just like Joe did, you could fall down a manhole, but then you realize, I'm not dead. I still have my
Yeah.
soul. What is going on? As you fall infinitely and you realize, oh my God, there's no stop. You know why there's no stop? Because you have fallen down that rabbit hole.
Keep falling down that manhole.